Judith had never told anyone what exactly she did for a living, only to say she had a little part-time job in the offices. However, she left out the part that she was the cleaner. Their primary income was from fostering. Although Judith and Nigel had fostered in the past, they'd never adopted, and so they were only allowed to foster teenagers. The home was a far cry from what she'd been used to, and she found it impossible to fit in with their ways. The endless rules over being tidy, even in her own room, was simply too much. She tried to block out the tuts and the wag of the finger, but what Kara hated the most was Judith shaking her head. "Now, Kara, we don't do that, do we? Nice young ladies sit up straight at the table. Classy young ladies don't wear earphones and certainly don't chew chewing gum. It's a filthy habit." Sometimes Kara found it amusing to blow a bubble with bubble gum in Judith's face, just to see her head almost twist off its neck in revulsion. Kara knew the Leonards had their own issues, and being religious too, they consoled themselves with the idea that they were doing good. So they could walk around with their noses in the air, believing they were better than anyone else. And she had sussed that out a year ago, merely by the way they spoke in such a condescending manner to anyone who would listen. Smiling with their humourless lips, they truly believed they were cut above everyone else. Kara had taken a lot of their digs about her mother and father with a pinch of salt, but today Judith was really pushing her buttons. Before there was an argument, Kara stood up to leave, but she was snapped at by Nigel. "Sit down and don't you be so rude, Kara Ann. Judith has cooked a delicious meal for you, yet it seems we have this insolence every time you go and visit your mother. Well, young lady, it's not going to continue. You're only 14 years old and in our care, and so you will do as we say." Retaking her seat, Kara glared at Nigel. "What do you mean by it's not going to continue?" She sensed something was going on because of the way the two strawberry heads looked at each other. Judith wiped her mouth again with the serviette, as if she were the Queen. "You are so defiant when you come back from your visit, and, may I say, despondent. And, Kara Ann, it's not good. We are here to look after your well-being, and quite frankly, we feel that these visits are not helping you at all." Feeling incensed, Kara began to tap her foot like a drummer and bite her lip to fight the urge to let rip. She was so much like her own mother, like two peas in a pod, people would say, and she was proud of being so, and of her temper as well, for that matter. "You dare try to stop me seeing my mother? For fuck's sake, my mother shouldn't even be in that stinking poxy place." "Kara Ann," shouted Nigel, "I will not have that language at my table. Now you apologise to Judith this minute." "And Joe, you ginger prick, can fuck off." Judith grabbed Kara's arm and squeezed it hard. "As much as you think your mother is a good person, a jury of 12 found her guilty of murder. Now finish your food. Can't you see? This is what happens when you visit your mother. You come back, obviously, with an appalling attitude and a mouth filled with expletives. You don't want to end up like her, but you will do, the way you're carrying on." Judith's voice became so high-pitched that it was like scraping nails down a chalkboard. "And I'm going to speak to your social worker about your visitation rights with your mother. I will insist for your own good, Kara Ann, you stop all visits." Those words were like a red rag to a bull. Kara ripped her arm away from Judith's clutches and snatched her fork. With an uncontrollable urge, she rammed it into Judith's upper arm. The force behind it was so hard that Judith toppled off the chair, dragging the tablecloth down with her. As soon as Kara realised what she had done, she knew she had to get out of the way. As she looked down at Judith, she was shocked to see the carnage on the floor. Plates of wet cabbage and the contents of a gravy boat had covered the woman. But, far worse, Judith was screaming while clutching her bleeding arm. Kara recognised that she had done some serious damage from the amount of claret everywhere. Clasping her hands over her mouth in shock, all she could think of doing was to scarp her. So leaving Nigel to help his screaming wife, she hurtled out of the kitchen and up the stairs into her room and slammed the door shut behind her. Her breathing intensified as her throat tightened with emotion. Even with the door closed, she could hear Judith wailing like a baby and Nigel fussing over her. They would no doubt call the social services, and she would go to the children's home. It was at that point Kerry knew she had to get away. However, she was intelligent enough to...